Hello students. So today I'm going to discuss with you the topic the chemical level of organization. In earlier videos I have discussed basic structures, basic level of organization. In the present video I am going to discuss chemical level of organization. So in this video I am going to discuss the topic chemical elements, inorganic compounds, organic compounds and carbohydrates. So let's begin this video lecture. But let me remind you, please like, subscribe my channel, like this video, share to your friends, and please watch this complete video lecture so that your concept get clear, you get better knowledge from this video lecture. So I'm going to discuss these topics one by one. First of all, chemical elements. You must have heard about chemicals and elements. So elements, chemicals, these are the basic terms which you must have studied in your lower classes. So for the need of this topic, I'm going to discuss these in in short. Like matter exists in three states, like solid, liquid and gases. Solids such as bones and teeth are compact and have a definite shape and volume. Similarly, liquid such as blood plasma have a definite volume and assume the shape of their container. And last, gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide have neither a definite shape nor volume. So these are the simple definition of the matter that exists in three different states, that is solid, liquids and gases. All forms of matter, both living and non-living, are made up of limited number of building blocks called chemical elements. So anything, whether it is living, non-living, all are made up of elements, chemical elements. Each element is a substance that cannot be split up into simpler substance by ordinary chemical means. It means they cannot be divided and further divided by simple ordinary means. They can be divided further by extraordinary chemical means, like certain high energy radiations, like every atom has neutron, proton, electron. So we are not going to discuss this all basic terms. You must have studied in your chemistry classes, or you must have knowledge regarding this. So over here only I am going to discuss the basic elements, that is main element you can say in our body, which are present mainly like chemical element symbol are major element, lesser element, and also there are tracer element. So there are three types of elements. If I divide these elements, in this table you see there is percentage of total body mass and their significance. So major elements are the oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen. These are present in human body of total body mass, that is 96% of body mass is made up of these basic oxygen, carbon, hydrogen and nitrogen. and the lesser elements are calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, sodium, chlorine, magnesium, and iron. So these are the main chemical elements in the body which are present in different proportion. Like 96% is the major element, and about 3.6% is the lesser element, and remaining are the tracer element, which I'm going to discuss on the next slide. So there are some significance which I'm going to read for you, like oxygen is a part of water, and many organic a carbon containing molecule used to generate ATP, a molecule used by a cell to temporarily store chemical energy. Oxygen has many functions, many significance. Similarly, carbon forms backbone, chain and rings of all organic molecules, carbohydrates, lipids, fats, proteins and nucleic acids like DNA and RNA. So carbon have diverse organic molecules. Yeah, you can say carbon is present in various forms, in various all organic molecules contain carbons. Like there are some example: carbohydrate, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acid. These all organic molecules have carbon in their backbone in the form of backbone chain. Hydrogen is present in 9.5% in human body, or makes uh, body mass of 9.5%. Constitute of water and most organic molecule. Ionized form is hydrogen H positive, makes body fluid more acidic. So body fluid are made acidic due to the presence of ionized form of hydrogen. So nitrogen, it is present 3.2% of total body mass, components of all proteins and nucleic acids. So nitrogen is present mainly in the proteins and nucleic acid. Similarly, if we talk about lesser elements which are present 3.6% by a total body mass. So calcium is a major element, lesser element, which is present 1.5% of total body mass, and it contributes to hardness of the bones and teeth. Ionized form calcium needed for the blood clotting, release of some hormones, contracting of muscle and many other processes are required calcium. So calcium is very important for the muscle contraction as well as clotting of the blood. So there are other certain hormones which are released due to the presence of calcium. Even hardness and of teeth and bones are due to presence of calcium. So phosphorus next, it is present 1% of total body mass, human body mass. Its significance is it is component of nucleic acid and ATP. So phosphorus is present in our nucleic acid and ATP, required for normal bone and teeth structure. You can see next potassium 0.3%, which is very less as compared to the oxygen or other lesser elements. Ionized form is potassium ion, is the most plentiful cation, positively charged particle in intracellular fluid. Intracellular fluid means fluid present inside the cell, needed to generate action potential. So action potential is due to the action potential is generated due to the presence of potassium ion. Sulfur is present 0.25%. It is component of vitamins and many proteins. Sulfur is also present in vitamins and many proteins. Sodium ionized form is the most plentiful cation in extracellular fluid. Like potassium was intracellular fluid, sodium is present in plentiful cation in plentiful quantity in the extracellular fluid, essential for maintaining water balance, needed to generate action potential. It is also needed to, potassium, sodium is also required to generate action potential. So one is present outside the cell, other is present inside the cell. Apart from this, sodium is very much important, very much essential to maintain water balance. Chlorine iodide form is Cl negative right ion in the form of most plentiful anion. This one also is the most plentiful anion. It has negatively charged particle, or it is negatively charged particle in extracellular fluid, essential for maintaining water balance. Second last is the magnesium. Ionized form is magnesium ion Mg2 plus, needed for action of many enzymes, molecules that increase the rate of chemical reaction in organisms. So enzymes are the molecule which are needed for the chemical reaction to be occurred. In the absence of these enzymes, chemical reaction inside the body, inside the organism, inside the cell cannot be possible. Iron ionized form is Fe2 and Fe3 plus, and part of hemoglobin, oxygen carrying protein in the RBCs, red blood cells, and some enzymes also contain iron. So these are the main chemical elements in the body which are present in different proportions as pictured in this table. They all are very significant. They have different diverse functions which they control, which they function, which they are required for. In the absence of their these elements, body may get certain diseases, may get certain deformities. So they are very much important. Another is the trace element, that is about present 0.4% of total body mass. So these are aluminium, boron, chromium, cobalt, copper, chlorine, iodine, manganese, molybdenum, selenium, silicon, tin, vanadium, and last zinc. So in this pie chart, you can easily understand what are the major proportion, major element in which amount this huge amount or large proportion is the major elements, that is 96% of total body mass is a major element, and lesser element is about 3.6% of total body mass, and at least last trace elements are about 0.4% of total body mass. So these are the main elements in the body which are present in three, which can be categorized into three uh, parts, three type of elements: major, lesser, and trace elements. Next, we move on. Most of the chemicals in our body exist in the form of compounds. So in previous slide we were talking about elements. Now we are going to talk about compounds. So you know compounds, elements, they come together, unite, and form different complex compounds. So biologists and chemists divide these components into two principal classes, that is inorganic compounds and organic compounds. So compounds are of two types according to biologists and chemical chemists. So here first we will talk about inorganic compounds. Inorganic compound, as the name indicates, they are inorganic, means they are not organic. They lack carbon. There are certain exceptions, but organic compounds are different from inorganic compounds. Inorganic compounds usually lack carbon and structurally simple. So compounds that doesn't have carbon and structurally they are simple. Their molecules also have only a few atoms and cannot be used by cells to perform complicated biological functions. They include water, many salts, acids, and bases. So inorganic compounds are examples are salts, many salts, acids, and bases. All are studied under inorganic compounds category. Inorganic compounds may have either ionic or covalent bonds. They can have ionic or covalent bonds. Inorganic compounds may have their either ionic or covalent bonds. Sorry, I have repeated this. Inorganic compounds that contain carbon includes carbon dioxide, bicarbonate ion, and carbonic acid. So these details were regarding inorganic compounds. Next, organic compounds. Organic compounds always contain carbon, usually contain hydrogen, and always have covalent bond. Like in a last earlier slide, in inorganic compounds, it also says inorganic compound contain carbon, but here it contain carbon and usually contain hydrogen with it and always have covalent bond. Like inorganic compounds, it may have ionic or covalent bond, but in the organic compound, it is always covalent bond. So this is a bigger difference by structurally. Most are large molecules, many made up of long carbon atom chains. So organic compounds are very complex compounds, contain large molecules made up of long carbon atom chains. Organic compounds make up of remaining 38 to 43% of human body. Many organic molecules are relatively large and have unique characteristics that allow them to carry out complex functions. Important categories of organic compounds include carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids, and adenosine triphosphate. So, at last, we are going to discuss carbohydrates, that is organic compounds. The definition of carbohydrates. The carbohydrates are defined chemically as aldehyde or ketone derivatives of the higher polyhydric alcohol. Polyhydric, many hydric alcohols or compounds which yield these derivatives on hydrolysis, like derivative of aldehyde ketones. So there are ketones and aldehyde definition. The ketones contain a carbonyl group. Within the carbon skeleton, the carbonyl group is polar and hydrophilic due to its electronegative oxygen atom. So in the carbonyl group is arranged in this form, like one carbon is attached to one oxygen, but this carbon which is attached to oxygen is further attached to two aliphatic chain, alkyl chain R group, but in the aldehyde group, a carbon group has end at the end of the carbon skeleton. So in carbonyl group, oxygen which is bound to carbon may be present anywhere in the chain, but in aldehydes it is also always present at the end, one end of the chain. carbon skeleton chain, and it is always bound to alkyl group only from one side, and other side is hydrogen. Carbohydrates include sugar, glycogen, starch, and cellulose. Even though they are large and diverse group of organic compounds and have several functions, carbohydrates represents only 2 to 3% of your total body mass. In human and animals, carbohydrates functions mainly as a source of chemical energy for generating ATP needed to drive metabolic reactions. So carbohydrates are the compounds which are chemically aldehyde or ketonic derivative or any polyhydric alcohol or compounds which yield these derivative on hydrolysis, breaking down into simpler form by adding hydrogen or water. A few carbohydrates are used for building structural units. One example of deoxyribose. One example is deoxyribose, a type of sugar that is building blocks of deoxyribonucleic acid, that is DNA, the molecule that carries inherited genetic information. Classification of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are divided into four major classes: monosaccharides, disaccharides, oligosaccharides, and polysaccharides. So monosaccharides, also called simple sugar, are those which cannot be hydrolyzed further into simpler forms. Like general formula is CnH2n, means carbon is twice the number of hydrogen is twice the number of carbon, and the oxygen is the same as the number of carbon. They can be subdivided further depending on the number of carbon atoms they possess as triosis, tetrosis, pentosis, hexosis. Means if there are 3 carbon atoms, it is called triosis. If there are 4 carbon atoms, it is called tetrosis, and if there are 5 carbon atoms, these are called pentosis, and 6, they are called hexosis. Depending on whether aldehydic or ketonic group they are present, are called aldoses or ketosis, like CHO group or CO group. These are the ketonic group or aldehydic group. You can see over here aldose sugar or keto sugar. There are 3 carbon over here and 3 oxygen and 6 hydrogen, twice the number of carbon. Triosis like glyceraldehyde if it is aldoses, and if it is ketose sugar, it is dihydroxyacetone. Tetrosis, erythrosis, erythrulose, pentosis. These are the examples. Aldose sugar is ribose and keto sugar is ribulose. Hexosis, that is glucose, and keto sugar name fructose. Both have 6 carbon atoms, but due to the presence of keto or aldo group, they have different structures, different name, different properties. But chemically, they have 6 carbon, 6 oxygen, and 12 hydrogen atoms. Monosaccharides are the monomeric unit to build the carbohydrates, like deoxyribose, ribose, pentosis, hexosis, 5 carbon atom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Deoxyriboses, riboses, and these are the hexoses having 6 carbon atoms like glucose, fructose, and galactose. Yes, there are differences in their structure, their location of the hydrogen, OH, geometrical geometrical arrangement of these hydrogen-oxygen bond regarding their bond or their plane. Next one is the disaccharides, those sugars which yield two molecules of the same or different molecules of monosaccharide on hydrolysis. Their formula, general formula is CN, C, N time, H2O, N minus 1 time. Examples are maltoses, yield two glucose molecule on hydrolysis. Lactoses yield one molecule of glucose and one molecule of lactose on hydrolysis. Sucroses yield one molecule of glucose and one molecule of fructose on hydrolysis. Lactoses, lactuloses, keto disaccharides. These are the examples of disaccharides. These all have two monomeric unit of glucose, glucose, or glucose, galactose, glucose, fructose, or keto disaccharides. Like disaccharide, you can see over here, disaccharide consists of two monosaccharides that have combined by dehydration synthesis, means removal of water molecule from here. You can see after dehydration, two monomeric units like glucose and fructose come together. There is bond between this OH and this OH. There is removal of H2O water molecule and bond is formed between this two monosaccharide. So sucrose, that is table sugars, is formed, which is disaccharide, and the additional product, byproduct is the water. If the reverse reaction is reversed, there is dehydration synthesis, that is hydrolysis. With the addition of water, this disaccharide molecule, that is sucrose, get dissolved, get hydrolyzed into two simpler monomeric units like glucose and fructose. So dehydration, synthesis, and hydrolysis of sucrose. Over here you see lactoses and maltoses are similarly formed of lactose and glucose unit, and maltose are formed of two glucose units by the combination of, by the joining of, by the addition of bonding between, formation of bond between two glucose molecule, formation of bond between two galactose and glucose molecule. Other one is the oligosaccharides, those sugars which yield 3 to 10 monosaccharides units on hydrolysis. Maltoses, polysaccharides, glycans, those sugar which yield more than 10 molecules of monosaccharides on hydrolysis. Polysaccharides, oligosaccharides, these classification is based on their number of monosaccharide units. So poly means many. General formula is C6H10O5 n time, many times. Polysaccharides are further divided in two types like homopolysaccharides, polymer of same monosaccharide units like starch, glycogen, insulin, cellulose, dextrans, and heteropolysaccharides like heteroglycans, polymers of different monosaccharides units of or their derivative like mucopolysaccharide, glyco, glucosaminoglycan. So these are the polysaccharides, can be divided on the basis of their monomeric unit. That's same or different. Thank you. Please like this video, share to your friends who are in need of this kind of video. Please subscribe my channel for this kind of informative video lecture. Thank you. Thanks a lot.